My dad died when I was 12, and so I found male role models here, starting with Bill Bungard and Bob Lepper, and then Otto Jugon. Otto kicked me out of the Y at least 2 or 3 times, but we became great friends as I grew up. At some point in the early 80s, I got asked to be on the board of directors, and that was pretty cool for a young guy, and there was a lot of industrialists and people like Jerry Coogan who were just instrumental in keeping the Y afloat. As I got into the Y, so this is early 80s, the Y went through tremendous change between what you see here now and what was here in the early 80s. There were no kids. The kids had left the Y. And one of the first things that I remember was, we got to get the kids back here. And so if you go around here, there's kids all over the place. And, I think the board of directors encouraged staff to do that. So something about this YMCA, and I'm quite certain it's uniform throughout YMCA-dom, is the Live Strong, the Parkinson's program. Recently, the Y has added a yoga for veterans, which really is a yoga for old people. And all of these things are just great.
So as a board member, my responsibilities include making sure that our students have access to programs that are available to them at the Y, also access for our families to be able to engage as a community, because I also recognize that any community outreach or any type of programming that's available after school or as a community event, it always allows for students to come back to school and feel that sense of belonging, which makes a true community. So currently right now, we provide swim lessons to students in grade 2 across the district. They take different sessions, 5 to 6 week sessions throughout the entire year. Each school will take one session, and students travel to the Y and are able to learn swim. So there is a little girl who started her session, and she definitely brought her swimmies with her. And of course, she couldn't use them during the session. And so there was one opportunity where she had her swimmies off, and it didn't turn out the way that she had hoped. So it took a little bit of time for her to become comfortable, and the Y staff was amazing in supporting her through that process. They never gave up. They continued to talk to her. They continued to promote her ability to swim. And by the end of the session, she swam from the lifeguard to the stairs by herself. And when the session ended, she was signing up for an additional class outside of the school day. So the Attleboro schools and the Attleboro Norton YMCA not only benefits our youth through programming, but I think we also recognize that there needs to be a deep commitment to everybody in our community. And as a result, we always benefit from programs that are offered to students during the school day that have a direct impact on their learning. But I think more than that, it's the deep commitment goes beyond that, because when students and families recognize that we're all here to serve each other, whether that's during the school day or outside of the school day, the impact of students learning when they come back to us and that true sense of belonging, that true sense of community is what really matters, because everyone knows that we all care about each other in order for them to be successful in school and also in the community.
Well, so I joined the Attleboro Y in early 1972, 73. It all started with taking a job here in Attleboro in the accounting firm, which is 2 buildings down, right in the corner of North Main and Dean Street. And I started coming over here at noontime, because I needed to start exercising. And one of the fellows who was there, he belonged. And so I started coming over here and just really, got into a routine. Part of my day was to come over here at the Attleboro Y and so forth. And I just started meeting a lot of nice people, and then we would just work out together and so forth. And then some of it was good professional contacts and what have you. And then I got a call one day from Bud Holden, who was a long time board member here, and just asked me if I'd be interested in joining the board of directors. And I asked around and so forth, and I looked at the members on the board, and I said, wow, yeah, these are some pretty special people on this board. So I thought it was a privilege to be asked and so forth. So I took the opportunity and I joined, yeah. Just the why in itself is its mission and the people. And I think you really, because being on the board, you see what they do and so forth. But when you start going to like the breakfast and some of these where they start talking about families and how people have been benefited and so forth, turn their lives around and what have you. And then I think you really appreciate what this organization does, and you just appreciate being part of it and help it work, because it's very important. I think you have to have a focal point. The fact we're downtown and so forth, and I think you have to have the people and the leadership side of it to invest in the community, and the community has to, if you will, respect the leaders, and I think the programs in the Y, and I think there's a great collaborative between the city and the YMCA, and I think it works very, very well. And it could be just beyond that, just it's not a competitor, but say the recreation department. It's just how everybody works together. The purpose is trying to get a place for kids to go and to enjoy and and mingle and so forth, and have opportunities to grow and stay safe. So.
My family were kind of lifetime members. My grandparents were members, my dad's family, my immediate family, and really it's been a lifetime. It's been a lifetime. It became, I became a board member before I had children, and then I had children. And in looking at childcare options outside of the home, I decided that the Y would be a great fit for them. It was so close to work. Robin Cuddy, who was the CEO at the time, she and I had a great relationship and encouraged me to check it out, which I did. And as a mom, it's really hard to go back to work when you have kids and leave them in the care of other people and have that level of trust. I truly can't say enough about what the child care women that worked there did for me. I never worried about my kids when I was at work. I was able to focus on what I had to do at work when I was at work, which was always such a great relief. So I think my dad really, my dad tried to instill in us growing back that we've been pretty fortunate, and we have had a nice family life, and that we've been a part of the Attleboro community for so long, and that we've been given a lot. So we really tried to enforce in us that we should give back to the community, and I think the Y is such a focal point in doing that it just was a natural transition for me to be able to participate in that way and want to give back to something that has given my family so much. And I want my daughters to get that same lesson, that they're pretty fortunate, and they should want to give back to those that aren't as fortunate as they are, and to see their roles in the community as important ones, and that they can make a difference. And it wasn't lost on me how hard my dad worked in terms of a volunteer for the Y, and I quickly also realized what an impact it had on the community. But I feel like personally, once I moved back to the area for work, it really was impactful to me on a personal level in joining the board, and then also utilizing services myself here. My perspective, it's a great place for me to leave my desk in the middle of the day and get a workout in and fit it in at a time that's just really convenient, that's not impacting family life. So it's been really good for me, and I think I see a lot of others in my age group that do the same thing, working professionals, getting out there and still taking care of their health while also trying to do their jobs well. I also see all the services it provides with the meals to the elderly, the services that it provides to those that are experiencing different forms of disease, which has just been really impactful for me to see that, the Y is constantly saying it's for all, it's for everyone. It truly is. It's from the smallest infant at childcare to an elderly person that's needing Parkinson's relief. It just truly, it doesn't discount any member of the community as being more or less valuable. It's for anybody who needs it.